Hello and how are you? I welcome you to our very first lecture of learning how to create mobile applications using Flutter. So we're going to start from zero, assuming that you don't know anything. But our speed is going to be at a pace in a way that we can allow even those who don't know, who already know basics, who already know who are already somewhere, to be able to learn new things from what we shall be teaching. So without wasting any minute, let's go straight into our today's business and get started. So first of all, we are going to learn using Flutter to create our mobile applications, because Flutter, it is the most trending technology for creating mobile applications. Flutter will save you from creating Flutter will save you from creating two applications, in a way that if you want to create a mobile app, you'll create you write just single code, and you can use that single code to compile an app that will run on Android programming. That will run on Android operating system, and that same code you can use it to compile an application that can run on iOS. So what you need to know right now, you just need to know basics of programming. You should be able to know how to make some simple mathematical calculations, and you should be able to read and write. If you can't read and write, then it means that this is not the right course for you. So you should be able to read and write, because one of the things you have to teach them yourself. Of course, that I believe if you're watching this video, you already know how to read and write. Alright, that's what you need to know. However, you don't need to know too much in programming, because I'm going to teach you beginning from scratch, in a way that I should cover so many people in this course series. I'm going to begin from Dart. So Dart is a programming language that powers Flutter. So in Flutter, it's just a framework that you use that code to compile applications. So that is just a real programming language that we shall use to create Flutter applications. Another thing that you should know here, you design user interfaces with that code. So Flutter will give you ability to call functions that can help you to present buttons and different user interfaces using that code. Then another thing you should know is that you'll need a computer. Your own computer. I always recommend your own laptop that you should be having at least 8 GB RAM and above. Yeah. So I'll always advise to have a SSD. If you don't have an SSD, I recommend you to, instead of using normal hard disk, you use SSD, because SSD are faster. So you can just invest in some small money to buy a good platform or a good computer, or to build a good computer, like buying SSD and RAM, so that when you're learning these things, you don't get disappointed or betrayed by your laptop or your computer, and to make the things fun and fast. Otherwise, these programming things are boring sometimes, most especially when your machine is not good. So you can get some small money and improve your laptop or improve your computer, so you know that you're going to learn, and after learning, you'll be able to start making money that can even be able to buy another bigger computer. So that should be the perception. Please first make your environment be better, faster, and invest in it, so that your computer should be faster, something like that, so you don't delay or don't get disappointed. So with that much said, that too much introduction, I won't go straight into our today's business. I will not explain too much why you need Flutter compared to React Native. I'm just going to concentrate much more on practicals. So let's go straight into the business. So I believe you're watching this video, you already know why you need Flutter. So let me not again cook you afresh. Alright, let's go straight into our today's business and get started. So I've told you about my YouTube channel. You can search it, Learn It with Muhindo. In here, you'll find different videos that can help you. Just search Learn It with Muhindo, go to the YouTube channel page and click on playlist. You can find different videos that can help you learn ahead. Alright, so today we're going to begin with learning that programming language. So that programming language, it will help you create Flutter applications. That's how simple I can say it. So the first thing is, and also one thing that I forgot to say is that you will be learning different techniques along the way that you need in the industry. For example, today I'm going to teach you how to use GitHub. So if you already know, that's good. If you don't know, then you're going to learn how you can use GitHub to keep your code, and also to be able to collaborate with other people, and also other much more advantages of using GitHub. So along the way, you'll see that I'll teach you different techniques that you always need when you're programming. Alright, so let's go straight into today's business. So the first thing you need to install and set up that programming language, because we're going to begin with that basics. So once we finish that, then we shall proceed to what? To Flutter itself. So I want us first understand the basics of that. What is that exactly? Then you go to Flutter itself directly. So you just go ahead and search install that. So when you search install that, you'll get steps that can help you to install that. So I'm not going to show you that one step by step. However, I'm going to give you a video that I have already taught how to install that programming language. So you can follow these steps, how to install that on Windows. There's so many videos on YouTube, so I don't want to repeat myself. Just go ahead and search how to install that. On YouTube, you'll be able to find, I'll also give you my own video that I created it, how to install that. So you'll find so many videos that will help you to install that. There are just like around so many videos. There are many. There are many. Even among these videos, there is mine. Okay, so there is mine. So in these videos, for example, this first session, I'm teaching how to install that. You see this one. So these are my own videos. So search how to install that programming language and put Muhindo Mubara, learn it with Muhindo. So you'll be able to see different videos that I teach how to install that. So yeah, installing that shouldn't be a problem at this level. So watch the video that I will share with you. Watch the video that I will share with you, as well as try from other tutors. You'll be able to know how to install that. It is a simple thing. So after doing that, I'll show you now how to do what? How to test if that has been installed. So after you've installed that, whatever video that you have followed, you've added that into your environment. If you're using Mac, you have added that into Path. You should be able to do this. So if you're on Windows, you're able to open your command line. Okay, once you open your command line, you'll be able to click on that. You'll be able to write the word that. So if you write that like that and press enter, you should be able to see this kind of results. So you should be able to see this kind of result that confirms you that has been installed. So if you want to see, for example, the version of that is installed, that programming language that is installed in your computer, just simply put dash that like this. So let me clear my screen and go ahead and say put dash that version. Okay, press enter. They will be able to give you the version that is in your computer. For example, this is that version 3.45.1 that is in my computer. It was released on this date. Alright, so that is how you test if that has been installed in your computer. And after doing so, then you should be able to know that, okay, everything is fine. If you haven't, then keep watching different videos, keep learning different documentations to see that at least you can be able to run that command in the terminal and to see the data that has been installed. It is not magic, it is a simple thing, trust me. But don't give up even if you find challenges. Alright, so that will be our first task, to install that programming language into our computers. So I've installed that programming language into my computer. So the next thing we're going to get started learning. So for me, I have the way I organize my projects. For example, I have, desktop, I have here a folder called GitHub. So in this GitHub, I put almost my project that I keep for GitHub. However, you can also find out how you organize your own. So in simple terms, I want you to create a folder, a place where you can be keeping your programming things or programming related things. So in this folder, I can open it. I have a folder called learn that. you can create it even yourself. Let me delete it so you can begin from fresh. So I've deleted it. Let me go ahead and change this one to list view. I'm going to create here a folder. I'm going to create here a folder that I'm going to call learn programming. Okay, just simply right click here, say new folder, and then you put a folder called learn_dat. So this learn dat is where I'm going to be keeping my files. So I'll request you, all of you members, to keep your things organized so you can be able to trace where you are or where you started from and at which level you are at the moment. So you've seen that folder. So after creating that folder, the next thing I'm going to put it in my text editor, or what we call IDE. So in that text editor, the text that we're going to be using to create our projects, we are going to use Visual Studio Code in learning that. So go ahead, if you don't have Visual Studio Code in your system, in your computer, go ahead and search Visual Studio Code on Google. I believe everyone knows Google at this level. So search Visual Studio Code, VS Code, others call VS Code. So go ahead and download it and installing it. Installing it is simple and straightforward. Click on download it, install it, and it will be straightforward to have it in your computer. So select your respective operating system. Alright, so after you install Visual Studio Code and open it, you'll have something like this. So let me go ahead and open my VS Code. So when you open your Visual Studio Code, it will be looking like this, much more like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open my folder into Visual Studio Code. I can either click on open file, open folder, and then I navigate with, or I can just simply come to the folder and drag and drop it there. Those are the same steps that, let me make it full screen now. Those are the same steps that you can apply whether using Windows or not using Windows. Alright, so right now we're going to, as I've said, we're going to learn the Dart programming language itself, and then we shall go to Flutter. Now, I've put my folder here. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create my first file. So I'll just simply click here and say create file. I can just right click and say new file, and then I give it a name. So for me, my files, I always organize them in orders. So since it's going to be a file, the first file, so I'll just simply put 1, and then I put a dot, or I can put a dash, and then say 1, and then give this file a name. Okay, so I can say introduction to that. So now one more thing that you should always know, all that files, they'll always have an extension of .dat. Just like the way PHP has .php and the C# has .cs, something like that, and HTML has .html. So for that we have .dart, like this. So if you don't do it that way, the system will not be able to recognize, or your operating system will not be able to recognize that you are meaning a Dart file. So I press enter. Let me zoom so you can see things clearly. I press enter, and then I'll be able to see that this is my first introduction file. So also, when you're practicing, make sure that you arrange your things in that way so we can be able to know which page you are on at the moment. I hope you are together. Now, this is a Dart file. So the Dart file, when it runs, it must have somewhere to start from. So to define where you should start from, you have to create a function called main function. The operating system will call that main function, and the app will start executing from there, just like C programming. So how do you create a function, a main function? You just simply write main like this and press enter. Main open bracket and then close the bracket like this and press enter. So by doing like this, it means that the application will have to begin from there. So let's go ahead and display a hello world. So to do so, I just simply say print. So this function, you're going to see them that we use. So I can just simply say hello world. So that will be our first Dart program. So if you have installed that successfully, so the next thing we'll be able to run this Dart program. So let's go ahead and open our let's go ahead and open our folder. Our terminal. So to open terminal, you just press Ctrl and the tilde button, or you can just simply say terminal and say new terminal here in Visual Studio Code. Then it will be able to open for you the terminal, or what we call command line, CMD. Alright, so after doing so, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to run our file. So let's first see if we're in the folder that we want. So if you want to see if you're in the folder that you want, you just simply write a command called pwd. So pwd will tell you the path that you're on. So right now, the path that we are in, you see it is the right path. The folder, everything, it is in that. So if you're not there, you can navigate to reach there. Someone should mute their microphone, please. Someone should mute their microphone. Don't know who is that. Let me see. Edgar Mark, can you mute? Edgar Mark, you're not in class even. Edgar Mark, mute your microphone. He's not listening. You see, that's the challenge of online classes. Anyway, let's focus on our own good. Alright, so by doing like that, you'll be able to see the path that you're in. Now, if you want to run this file of Dart, you can just simply say Dart, like that. So remember, we first installed Dart, and then you go ahead and put the file name. So I can put here one.introduction.dart. Alright, so that is our file. So if I want to run it, I'll just simply press enter. Then the system will be able to execute the file. So you can see that our file has been executed. This guy called Edgar is not following and is making noise for us. There is someone called Vincent, is it? Who has administrator's rights? Edgar, please mute. The guy is not following, he's in Kampala. Alright, so let's proceed. So you can see here the word hello world has been displayed. So that will mean that you have successfully installed that programming language in your system, in your computer, and that programming language in your computer, and you are able to display something, or able to print something, or able to execute something. So if you don't include main function, you'll not be able to do what? To run anything. Alright, so let's go straight into today's business. So we're going to look at so we're going to look at different data types that we have in that programming language, and then after looking at data types, then we shall go to variables, operators, loops, and then decision making. Alright, I think that will be enough for today's. So these are different data types that we have in Dart. So we have numbers. So numbers, they are numbers just like the way you can see integers and double. So integer, something like 1 or 2 or 3, and then you have double. Double is a big number, okay, that can support exponents. So those are the numbers, okay. Another data type that we have in that, we have strings. Strings is a group of characters, okay. That is another data type that we have. Then we have booleans. So booleans mean yes and no. So that's another type that we have. Then we have lists and maps. So a map is something like a JSON, or something that will be having a key and a value, So we call them what? We call them maps. whereby a list will be, as it sounds, it will be a list of multiple variables. Then we have dynamic type. Dynamic type is a data type of that can be able to store any type of a what? Any type of a variable. So as we proceed, we're going to see how we can create now variables from those different data types that I've told you about. Now, we can begin, for example, by creating a name. So, before we even proceed, what is a variable? A variable is a name, or it is a storage that we use to store data that we can use later. Let's say that you have your name, you have names of 10 people, and you want maybe to display them. What does it mean? It means that these names you may need first save them somewhere temporarily, and then later you make use of them. So those are what you call variables. So we're going to see how we can create that variables of different data types. So let me come here and create a new file. So this is how you'll be practicing. You create a new file for every subtopic. So I'm going to come here and put number 2 and then put variables .dat like this. So you'll see how it is organizing. It automatically become the second one. Alright, so later you can be able to know how you've been progressing. So first things first, we shall begin by creating a what? By creating a main function. So after creating a main function, let's go ahead and see how we can create a variable, for example, of a name. So to create a name of a variable of a name is a string. So you just simply define the data type that you want to define. You want to define a string, and then you say a string of what? Of country, and then put the name of the country. So by doing so, you'll be able to do what? We'll be able to store the word Nigeria, or the name of country Nigeria, into this string, whereby we can use this one later to reference it. For example, I put hello world from the name of the what? Of the country. So by doing so, we shall have demonstrated the string thing. So if I go ahead and run this project, open my terminal, and then go ahead and run that and say 2.variables.dat. So if I press enter, you'll be able to see that we're able to store the word Nigeria in this country variable, and then you're able to display it later. So that is how we deal with what? With strings. It's as simple as that. Alright, so we proceed. I'm going to be faster here because most of them are self-explanatory. You can define an integer. So to define an integer, that's what we say it's a number. I can say, so I can put here, for example, the string called name. I put Muhindo Mubarak, and then we go ahead and define. So that 2 different variables. Okay, we'll go ahead and define integer and say int, and say age. For example, age I put 20. So it means that we shall only save integers in this age data type. So I can go ahead and make here a statement of a string. So string, I say statement equals hello, my name is. So you say my name is, and then you substitute the name like this. I am this age, years old, from the country. So by doing so, we shall have created these variables with different data types, and then we create a single statement that can combine them. Then we can go ahead and display it. So these ones may seem simple to some people, may seem hard to some people. However, I would like all of us to go at the same pace, so we can be able to learn even new techniques that I'll be sharing with you along the way. So that is it. So by doing like this, to be able to combine these different variables and display them in my console. So let's go ahead and run this file again, so you can see that we're able to say my name is. You see this as a variable, it has been substituted. I am, the age is shown, and then years old from, and then I put the what? The name. So by doing so, it will show that we have managed to understand how to make use of what? multitude of different variables. So we have another data type called what? Called double. Okay, so double, for example, we can just simply say double. So double can be able to store what? To store even decimal points, because integers will not be stored at decimal point. So I can put here, for example, weight 70.5. So I come here and add that sentence and say comma I weigh, I put my weight there and then I display. So by doing so, you'll be able to see that we're able to even store the what? The decimal points. Then we go ahead and run the project. You'll see that this statement is making sense. Alright, so we proceed. Another thing we are going to see, that's how we do with doubles. And yeah, so other things is a variable, things like variable. So by doing something like var, okay, for it will not do what? It will not be able to, it will be able to store anything. For example, you see here I'm able to store this. So if I come here and just simply run this, you see it will still give me the same result. So this var is much more of that kind of data type. However, it can store anything. So I have another one called dynamic. Dynamic also store anything. It can even be able to store the null values. Alright? So that is it about basics variables. So from these basic variables, we can use them to design even different kinds of data structures, such as maps and lists that we're going to look at when we proceed. Alright, so let's proceed to operators, and we look quickly about operators of what? Of that supports. So we have addition, which is a plus. This one is straightforward. And then we have a minus, which is a subtract. And then we have this one where we put a minus and then a value. So this one will do what? A negation of an item. So you have a star. Star stands for division, for multiplication, and then you have a forward slash that stands for what? For division. And then we have a that's a tilde. That's what a tilde. I don't know how to call this. Alright, to have that icon, it's that character, you can find it at the beginning of your keyboard. Let me find its name anyway. What is the name of that? It's not a tilde even. It's called. Let me ask its name here on Google, because I don't know its name for sure. I'm not like you, but I know it. So that very first character that is after tilde on your comma. You see, these guys that they tell me has a few different names depending on the context. It's called tilde. You can call it tilde, tido. But I know tilde, yeah, they call it tilde. So how about this? This one. A single quotation mark that is not even a quotation. That's called a grave accent. Backtick. Backtick, okay. So that is different from what? From this. A single column, apostrophe, call it apostrophe. Yeah, I think. All right, so yeah, that's it. So you put tilde and then forward slash. This one will give you. You'll make sure that it returns an integer. All right, so we put percentage to get a what? The module of something, like the module, and then percentage will make for us a reminder. Okay, it will get the reminder. And then plus will increase something, and minus minus will decrease it. So let's take these examples of these ones, and then we go to a break. So let me come to my Visual Studio Code before we go for a break and create a file for what? For different programming language. For different operators in that programming languages. So I'll put 3 dot operators and then put dot like this. Put 3 here. Alright, so like that, I can just simply go ahead and create our main function, and then let me come here and just copy this. Just simply come here and put in this. I'm going to demonstrate. So that's how I write comments, by the way. Demonstrate each of the following operators. Alright, so let's demonstrate that. So that's how I define an integer, and this is how we add. Okay. Alright, so this is how we add. Members, I hope you're watching. Alright, that's how we add. That's how we do subtraction. That's how we do a minus, a ternary minus. That's how we do multiplication. That's how we do division. That's how we get a remainder. That's how we do getting a remainder with a division. That's how we do increment. That's how we do decrementing. So I'm going to share with you this source code. In your free time, you can go through it. Alright, so if I run this, I should be able to display them in my console. Open my tab, press, go ahead and run. Go ahead and run what? I go ahead and run dot, and then put 3 dot operators. So you just write 3 words and then press the tab key. The tab key will go ahead and complete for you the remaining words of the sentence of the file. Press enter. So you see addition, subtraction, unary, minus, multiplication, division. So that's how we perform those operations. So I'll share with you the code and you look at them very carefully. Alright, so let's finalize from there. We're going to have a short break of 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes we shall come and get introduced to GitHub. I'll teach you GitHub and how to use Git, and then after we shall go ahead and proceed with loops, decision making, and then proceed to list and the rest. So let's first breathe for 5 minutes. So let me put here my timer. So after those minutes, you should be able to come back and we proceed with that day's lecture. So if someone has a hand up, you can ask very fast.
Yes, I was asking, like, can't you get that through the extension of VS Code?
To get that in the what?
Like from the extension of VS Code.
No. It's good to first install that. It means that if you put it that of VS Code, it will still ask you to install that. Even if you install it there, still it will not be in the terminal. So the better way is to install the dat itself, and then you add the VS Code extension so it can work with the one that you have installed and do not face any problem. However, there are some dat extensions that they can help you to run that code within VS Code. However, what I recommend is to install that within the computer so you can be able to run it from anywhere. And the videos are there.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and breathe for 5 minutes, and then after 5 minutes we shall come back and finalize our today's lecture.